It's here. We've made it to the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. It's the Rings of Power season finale. Boy, I sure wish I could look off into the distance wistfully while the audience sees a montage of my favourite moments from the series so far.
This is one of, if not the most expensive television shows ever made. I can do that. You could probably do that too.
Oh yeah. I absolutely hate it. Anyway, let's get straight into the episode because I'm coming down with what I believe is batsuit flu, as if I wasn't in enough pain already just watching the show, but whatever. What better way to kick off the final episode than with an inaccurate depiction of one of the Rings of Power? Even though the show is called Rings of Power. You'd have thought that'd be the one thing they got right, but...
It's the ring. It has him. Mind and soul.
Yes, apparently the Ring of Thor, during the third Ring of Power, has turned him into a 90s American slasher antagonist. And no, for those of you who are wondering, that's not what his ring is supposed to do. It is said that the Dwarven rings amplified both the wearer's natural abilities, but also their propensity for greed. But no, greedy is not the same as mass murderer. There's a little bit of space in between those two things. Here's a quote from Tolkien Gateway. The kings of Durin's folk proved resistant to the magic of the Rings of Power, as dwarves are hard to tame and the thoughts of their hearts are hidden. And so resistant is Durin to the power of the ring that in one of the previous episodes, it's influencing him even though he's not wearing it. Not to mention the fact that he'd only owned it for a day or two at this point. But never mind deep Tolkienian dwarf lore, because we need a cheap plot, goddammit, so give him a pickaxe and a short temper. Aye. Also, why did he kill/maim everyone except Deezer? Her plot armor must be thicker than she is.
Ha! Got him!
So Durin then bumps into other Durin, pounding away at some rocks within a cave, when the scene cuts to deep inside the mountain, where we hear a growling coming from an unknown source. Gee, I wonder if it could be a Balrog. Would you look at that? Not only are Amazon ruining Lord of the Rings for Lord of the Rings fans, they're now ruining their own plot for deaf people. Do better, Jeff. Come on. And just take a look at this. Is there not one original thought within this show? I can't think of a more efficient shortcut to garnering animosity from real fans than bastardizing the books, not referencing but plagiarizing the Peter Jackson trilogy, and then doing all of that with a smug grin on your face. Amazon really are going for the FAFO any percent world speed record, aren't they? Dude, even the sound design compared to the Jackson trilogy is completely amateur. For reference, here's the Balrog scream from the Fellowship. It's a deep growl mixed with the sound of, I don't know, someone like opening a blast furnace. It's genius sound design. It's intimidating, but it also makes sense biologically. Now, flash forward to the Rings of Power. Upsettingly generic and lacking any kind of creative merit, just like the rest of the show. So we then catch up with definitely not Gandalf, who certainly, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, is Gandalf, who has finally met with Mance Rayder, aka the Dark Wizard, who was slightly better at acting in Game of Thrones. Yeah, it turns out he's not very good at pretending to be good.
Forgive me, old friend. I thought these nomads might help me find you. I see now I was foolish to place trust in such low company.
Yeah, I'm getting more like Widow Twanky vibes than Eastar, but then again, this is Rings of Power, and them rangs got a rang.
You definitely went a bit too far there. Could have just used a taser or shot him in the legs or something.
And it turns out, drumroll please, that the Harfoots are morons. Yeah, who saw that coming? They get angry at the Dark Wizard for killing the merc that was holding them at knife point.
You pity him whose blade was at your throat.
Yes.
I get being suspicious of the guy that everyone's calling the Dark Wizard, but we, the audience, are the only ones that know he's evil at this point. None of those characters know, so what's with the immediate hostility? Also, she gets more angry at him for dispatching the guy holding her at knife point than, I don't know, the guy holding her at knife point. That sounds a little bit retarded to me. And the way they've shot it, the wizard obviously just means to push him away. It's a freak accident that actually kills him. It just so happens that there's a random piece of wood sticking out of the wall that just happened to hit him in the back of the head. Then the dark wizard gets a little bit ticked off and starts wrecking the place, and we are blessed with what I can only describe as a hilarious montage of hobbits being squashed by chunks of their own homes. What a week it's been, you know? They turned Joker 2 into a musical, and now it turns out that they turned Rings of Power into a comedy. What a time to be alive. You could say that those hobbits were stuck in between a rock and a hard place. A mix of China flu and Rings of Power has begun to liquidate my prefrontal cortex. At least I'll fit in with Rings of Power enjoyers once it completely melts. And on this day, no one of note died, because then the audience might get a little bit upset.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro. You tripping.
The people that did die, never addressed again. They don't even mention it. They just move on. We then travel to Numenor, where the High Priest of the Faithful is currently trying to beat the read a whole page of text in under 5 seconds record. I don't know about you guys, but I reckon he just about did that. And being salty that Muriel was spat out of the ocean by a calamari monster, Karl Marx, and a man with a very high-pitched voice, declare that the faithful, aka anyone who still supports Muriel, they declare them as traitors of the realm.
All so-called faithful are now declared traitors of Westerness.
He reminds me of that one pirate off Pirates of the Caribbean.
And so, we shall go to war.
I don't know where that northern accent came from then, but I'm going to go ahead and blame the China flu again. My brain is actually melting.
As of this hour, all loyal Numenorians are called upon to oppose this threat.
So in Numenor, you mean to tell me that the native population of a civilized and highly advanced society who base their lives around faith are now being publicly and politically ostracized, subjected to violent rhetoric, and are now being replaced with retarded, ugly communists? Why? that would never happen in the real world.
My place is here. You know it is.
And where is mine? If not with you.
Oh my god. They will not be happy until every character in this show has kissed one another. You ever seen a young girl playing with the Barbies and she's mashing them together like this? They're going, oh, they're kissing! I think that is literally how the writers of this show pitched the script. Now, hear me out. This might be the bat flu talking, but what if Amazon are actually playing a 5D game of chess while we're playing checkers? What if this show is just one big social experiment / make-a-wish project? Because Amazon hate me and my side of YouTube, and they want to get rid of us. So they can do that, but they knew that we'd come out and call this out for the garbage that it is. And that then allows them to play their trap card, which is, they release the behind the scenes video and they say, look, this whole show was made by terminally ill children. How'd you feel now? Oh, what? You thought this show was made by someone who didn't have bone cancer? Think again, buddy. Now that would be a bad look for people like myself. I would believe them, though. I might be getting a little too close to the boundaries of monetization with that one. I might have to reel it in just a touch. Anyway, Muriel then introduces Elendil to Narsil, his future sword that at some point his son will also take up and cut the ring from Sauron with.
It is called Narsil.
I'm sorry, but how does she know it's there? She's fucking blind. But of course, when Narsil is broken and then reforged, it then becomes known as Anduril, which is eventually taken up by Aragorn, which unfortunately opens the door to yet even more Peter Jackson trilogy plagiarism. Again, there is just not one original thought or shot or line in this show. It's only a reference if it's a one-off or every now and then. If every other scene is copied line for line or shot for shot or both, that's just straight up theft. And since this is marketed towards normies, because Lord knows this isn't marketed towards Tolkien fans, people wouldn't even get the references anyway. So part of me feels like some of these shots genuinely aren't references and they were just hoping that no one would notice the plagiarism. It goes back to my old joke, what does a normie say to the god of death? Nothing, they don't get the reference. But if they are just stealing ideas, oh, how they have massively underestimated the passion autism tsunami that is the Tolkien fanbase. We will notice these things.
Have you ever seen orcs in the heat of combat? A frenzy comes over them. A blood hunger.
A frenzy, you say? Well, I don't know about all of that, but I have been listening to the orcs for the past couple of episodes now, and they seem to have only been begging to go home and asking for more attention from Daddy Anna.
We are safe here. We have a home. Must we go to war again?
I wonder how much annual leave an orc gets.
Sauron, Lord of the Rings.
Did you hear that, guys? He said the thing. Shame this isn't Lord of the Rings, though. We then revisit a character called Isildur. You guys remember him? Oh, you do? Oh, that's funny, because the show seems to have forgotten him for a few episodes.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? No damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that?
And it's yet another romance absolutely nobody asked for, and it's teed up in the worst way possible.
I hear you building a home.
Hagen started laying the foundation a few days ago. When he laid the cornerstone, he asked the gods to keep our love strong as long as the home stood. I always thought his kindness was what love felt like, but when he said it, I felt ill.
Now, a dribbling filter feeder might be tricked into thinking that this is romantic in some way, but what she literally just said is, she said, oh, my husband is building me a home with his own bare hands. He wishes us to be in love forever and is so nice to me, it makes me feel physically sick. Want to have an affair? Yeah, no, that's really romantic. I'm sure that the very Catholic Professor Tolkien would be thrilled by that notion. Now, I was under the impression that the honourable, until corrupted by the ring, High King of the Dunedain wouldn't partake in such behaviour. I think that that's a fundamental misunderstanding of his character. But what do I know? Them rangs got to keep on ranging, and boy, they ain't going to rang themselves. So, Adar finds himself in possession of Galadriel's ring Nenya, which has restored him to his former glory, and doesn't he just look cute as a button?
When last I looked like this, I was known by another name.
What was it?
A meaningless name. A name I was given.
Again, with the no one can give you a name spiel that we saw in one of the previous episodes from not Gandalf, who definitely is Gandalf. I would argue that the names that you give yourself are the pointless names. If I said to you guys, look, you are never to refer to me as Jonny anymore. You must refer to me as Small Dick McBangman. You'd be like, absolutely not. You've not earned it. On second thoughts, that is a ridiculous name. You absolutely would call me that. Under no circumstances are you to call me that. Don't call me that. I'll cry.
And I swear to you, I will recall my children to Mordor, never to make war on Middle-earth again.
I have slain more of your children than any elf alive.
Oh, so much cringe, so little time. Right, okay, number one, can we please stop with the orcs just want to go home nonsense? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make for nuanced power dynamics in Middle-earth. It just neuters and undermines your antagonists. And two, Galadriel humble bragging about being the elf to have killed the most orcs is, first of all, cap. It's yet another fundamental misunderstanding of a character. If I play devil's advocate for a moment, and let's say sure, okay, fine. Galadriel is this warrior princess, which she absolutely isn't, but let's say that she is for a moment. The Galadriel we've seen on screen is not seen as strong or bold or unmovable. She's not seen as this powerful warrior. So when this drip claims to be the most dangerous elf on the battlefield, congratulations, you've now just undermined your protagonists as well.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
In just 2 sentences, you've managed to make orcs look like pansies and elves look weak and incompetent. It's impressive. Only Amazon could ring them rangs that hard. And then we travel back to Eregion, where Gil-galad and Elrond have both been apprehended by the orcs. And during this scene, they throw in a split-second shot of Arondir, who everyone had assumed dead in the last episode after, well, this happened. Yeah, turns out after being stabbed with not only a dagger, but a sword as well, and then being left face down on the battlefield to die, Arondir is alive? Question mark? But even worse than that, we then get to witness the ever-hyped by the trailers fight scene between Sauron and Galadriel, and it is as cringe as you might imagine. Yeah, Sauron literally disarms Galadriel using Riz.
Treat me like white teeth, don't get me dirty.
Now, I criticise Mordovith Clark for not being a very good actor, because she's not, but I have to say, towards the end of the last episode of Season 2, she's finally won me over, guys. You know, there's this scene where Sauron assumes Galadriel's form, which means that Mordovith has to act like Sauron pretending to be her, and it is nothing short of beautiful.
They could no longer distinguish me from the evil I was fighting.
Yep, no change in body language or facial expression. She just made her voice slightly higher than usual. Why? But it's not just vocal performances that are a bit wonky during this scene. It looks like white chick Sauron can't even put his contact lenses in straight either. Right, just in case there were still any Rings of Power enjoyers lurking in the comments, defend this scene I'm about to show you. Defend this scene from a multi-$100 million TV show. Defend the dialogue. Defend the weird facial expressions. Defend the utter garbage green screening. Go ahead.
Galadriel, your ring.
I feel like I'm watching a parody of a parody at this point. Right, well anyway, this is the apex of the Galadriel arc. This is the very pinnacle of her story. This is what everything's been kind of building up to, really, at this point. So what mic dropping line have you written for her? Come on, give it to us.
You wish to heal Middle-earth. Heal yourself.
Galadriel really just did the, go in for a handshake but then go like this at the last second thing. Wow. Guys, this is so epic. Arondir stops in the heat of battle, just happens to look way off into the distance, only to see Galadriel falling off a 100-foot cliff like a limp potato.
We are overwhelmed, Lord Sauron. The dwarves are securing the Elves' retreat. If we pursue, many orders.
But now he can't return to his orc wife and his little teeny tiny orc baby. Guys, this is so sad. Right, okay, this is just a clusterfuck of how are they still alive. Okay, let's say that when Adar stabbed Arondir twice, let's say he didn't hit any vitals, it still sent a mass. Like, that guy ain't getting up anytime soon. He's definitely not fighting, and he's absolutely not bouncing around like absolutely nothing happened to him. He would have lost a lot of blood. And then Galadriel, who has not only been stabbed by Adar, but has also thrown herself off a 100-foot cliff onto solid ground. How is she still alive? So, Gil-galad attempts to heal Galadriel with his Ring of Power and fails, so it then falls to Elrond to compromise his morals and adorn the ring Nenya in order to save Galadriel's life. He's not really in any kind of rush, though.
The darkness is too powerful. I cannot save her. I can.
Dude, she is about to die any minute. This is not the time for prolonged, dramatic close-ups. And I've got to admit, guys, I'd begun to miss the eat the bugs propaganda that the first couple of episodes were pushing, and as we're nearing the end of season 2, I began to lose all hope. And then they hit us with this gem.
We'd walk the wastes of this world, eating snails and beetles till the sun ran out of days.
It's just such a beautiful message. Guys, eat the bugs. And whilst we're with Nori and not Gandalf, who definitely without question absolutely is Gandalf, his whole arc this season has been leading up to him finding his staff. That's been the whole purpose of his story. So what grand event transpires when he does? What Herculean task does he overcome to acquire his staff? Well, it turns out he just finds it lying on the floor. Randomly. You couldn't have thought of just a slightly better idea than he finds it on the floor.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
A wizard does not find his staff. It finds him.
Mate, it was lying on the floor and it didn't budge. He quite literally found it. It did not find him. It cannot possibly get any more stupid than this.
Gandalf. That's what they're going to call me, isn't it?
I stand corrected. It just got much dumber. No, they're probably not going to call you Gandalf. Last time I checked, they were calling you Grand Elf.
Thank you kindly, Grand Elf. Goodbye, Grand Elf.
This is one of those rare occurrences where I called it, but I hate that I got it right. The Harfoots, having inquired about his name not moments ago, are clearly setting up for the creation of his name by using the word Gand to mean staff. Again, not in the books, not a real word, it's just headcanon. If you can see something coming 7 episodes in advance, it's probably not very subtle, or clever, or surprising. Who am I kidding them? We've been calling him not Gandalf since season 1, episode 1. I'm telling you, the people this show is made for warm up their thoughts in the microwave. There's no hope for them. And for all you morons that were trying to justify the Galadriel Elrond kiss, saying like, oh, but it's how they distracted Adar. They continue shipping them. I know it's the wrong finger, but the imagery, it's not exactly subtle, is it?
Arondir.
Yep, the show is just straight up not addressing the fact that Arondir should 100% be dead right now. At the very least, face down in a ginormous pool of his own blood on the battlefield. They're just not even going to try to attempt to explain why that's not the case. He's just here. And he's fine. Either that, or the writers genuinely forgot what they wrote in the previous episode. And that was that he got stabbed. Twice. And then the show ends the same way it started, with a bunch of cheap-looking polystyrene and some terrible green screening. I can't believe it's over. Almost as much as I can't believe the fact that they've actually been queuing up a season 3. I think it's fair to say that season 2 was quite a bit worse, particularly after episode 7, quite a bit worse than season 1, which would indicate that a season 3 would be even more disastrous than this one. I look forward to seeing that. But in the meantime, don't go anywhere. I will have another couple of Rings of Power videos coming within the next week or 2. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with Cyborg Jonny, because I have now fulfilled my purpose here. And yeah, I will see you all on the other side. See you around, guys. I think I'm ready.
Have you fulfilled your given task?
Yeah, I think I did the thing, right?
Then return my child and rest.
Hello there. And as always, a big shout out to the channel members and the Patreons. Here we have the top tiers. These are the Knights of Law. This is Michael Turpia, Pozamon, Flunky, Daggedy69, Jax, Koss, Michael Myson, Texas Lawman, ATS, Saint Nemo, Steve the Goat, the Grand Admiral, Jordan96, and Patrick Coyne. Thank you to each and every one of you for serving the realm. Really appreciate it. And a big thank you to the tier 2s as well. To each and every one of you. Thank you for being a member. And the tier 1s as well. To everyone on this list, I appreciate you going out of your way to help me. See you around, guys. And there we go. Another day. Another video. Will you join me for my next one? You better do, you little bionic bitch. But until then, take care. And I'll see you very soon.